All right, man. Cheers.
Cheers.
So, Austin, I have a very happy announcement.
All right.
We officially have 103 friends. Our AA friends group is now 103 members.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy because we just started it up.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and I have to say, so we've done two
live calls
with our AA friends.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not going to say I was hesitant at first, but like I was really kind of nervous, especially getting this started and going like, man, like, is this going to be weird?
Yeah.
Like, do people even really want to hear us talk? Like, I feel like people are going to get on this call and it's like, these guys suck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But both the calls we've done have been super fun.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed them.
Yeah. And a lot of the people from the first time came the second time. So I feel like I'm getting to know these people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And we have another call coming up in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah, that'll be cool.
Yeah. And I just want to say, I'm really happy. I didn't think we would get so many subscribers so fast, but knowing that you guys really want to get the subtitles and the scripts. One thing I do want to say is, as a thank you for everyone's support, we're actually going to do a little bit something new. I haven't told you this yet, but you know, our videos get kind of long. Yeah. So having one script and watching one video is kind of difficult. But what we're actually going to start doing on the AA Friends group is we're going to split up the videos into about 15-minute segments. Oh. So we'll have a nice long video for people who want the long videos, but then we'll have 15-minute segments of video with subtitles and a script. So it's a smaller doable package,
chunk
you know?
To go through.
Yeah. Just because, you know, we really appreciate what you're doing and we want to help more. Yeah, there's so many things we can do.
You know, I am so excited that there's so many people who've taken an interest in our channel, just for the sole purpose of practicing English.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of people who watch our channel because like either they feel like a connection to the things we're talking about because maybe they're expats from another country, or maybe they're Japanese but live somewhere else, and so they kind of understand like what we're going through and some of the like references that we make. Yeah. But something that I didn't expect that we'd get is that we get a lot of people who generally want to hear authentic English about authentic topics and not like the classroom topics are like, let's talk about the weather or what do I want to eat for breakfast, you know, like that kind of thing.
Yeah. And also, you know, it's funny because a lot of people think that because they say that your English is easy to understand and my English is easy to understand. And there have been many comments saying, you guys are talking so that we can understand,
crazy, right?
Yeah, because it's just how we talk about.
It blows my mind. So just to get this out of the way, and we've said this many times. Yeah, I'm not slowing down my English.
Yeah, this is how he really talks.
I talk
all
like
the time.
this.
Yeah,
and to be fair, I am like a professional English teacher. Yeah. So it's like I feel like that's really influenced how I talk.
Yeah, that's
right?
You're more articulate than most, I would say.
Yeah.
Because I have some friends who kind of talk like this, you know, you can't really understand what they're saying. But
yeah, exactly, right. And I feel like because you're kind of in the same industry as me, that like you've also been influenced by that.
Yeah.
But I'm not slowing myself down when I talk.
Yeah, we're not trying to slow down our English. You know, this is just how we normally talk. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I think there's so many things. But anyways, Tony Gaku, thank you guys so much. We're also going to be setting up a like a sake wish list system because someone tried to send us some sake that was really delicious. Thank you, M-san, for sending us that. But it was Yoreizo, it was Genshu, so it had to be refrigerated, and that caused a lot of headaches. So,
did it?
Yeah, like it came to us 10 days late and stuff. And so I want to create a system where it's easier for people to send us stuff. But yeah, I hope we can grow more of a community out of this.
You know, honestly, it's like we're just kind of taking our first steps with this, but it is so, I'd love being part of this community. Yeah. It's so much fun. I love our monthly, our monthly calls. It's so much fun, like getting to learn about like everyone's lives and stuff and just kind of having conversations and seeing what people's opinions are.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you've been joining our calls or if you haven't, but you know, you're listening to our channel, like, thank you. Yeah. This is awesome. It's really cool.
これからもよろしくお願いします.
Yeah. And, you know, like, even if you don't want to join like just leave a comment on our videos. Arthur and I go through the comments and look at them. We respond to them.
Yeah.
So
we look at every single one.
I do.
And Austin gets sad sometimes. So make sure you tell Austin, Austin, you're looking particularly sexy today.
Yeah, you know, as sexy as a fat old man can be.
A fat, hairy old man.
A fat, hairy old
Yeah. Anyways, man, what are we talking about today?
Okay. So we are talking about things that you often buy or that you just buy in the US, but you don't buy over here because either you don't need them or you can't get them.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing that made me think about this topic was I got into not necessarily a fight, but a little bit of a tussle with my wife.
Okay.
About
you stinky.
Well, no, about how the house was not very organized. Okay. And I said, oh yeah, I really want to have a clean house.
Yeah.
And she said, Arthur, I want you to make sure you take a shower every day, maybe twice, because when it hits summer, you just smell. I was like, oh, thank you, Natsumi. Thank you. Thank you.
It just went straight to the heart.
Seriously. No, but what was funny is because after I mentioned that, like about 5 minutes later, I was like doing the laundry or something, and she comes in, she's like, make sure you shower once a day, at least maybe twice a day. Because to be fair, there have already been days now. It's getting hotter, so the days are getting hotter, and the sweat is more. And
you're just living your heritage as a sweaty Greek man.
Seriously, man, I'm moving into sweat season where basically from the moment I go outside until I get home, I am like a sweat bomb. I hate it because I have a backpack, which means I automatically get the sweat stains on my back. I just hate it. And you know, I found out that not all Japanese people, but some Japanese people actually have fewer sweat glands, and so they don't sweat as much as us. And also another thing, there was this other video I saw where the Japanese girl was being interviewed, and she said she didn't want to date a foreign man because they smell bad and they sweat too much. That's awesome. So I need to buy deodorant.
Yeah. Good luck with that here.
Yeah, right? Well, it goes back to like people don't, like not everyone, but some people don't sweat as much here. So it's really hard to find good deodorant here.
You know, I actually really want to challenge that belief or that claim that like there's a lot of people here that don't sweat.
There's some people who sweat a lot for sure.
Because like, man, as somebody who regularly commutes in the morning, especially during the summer, there are some stinky people here.
There are some stinky people, but
some really stinky people.
And this is why
here.
You can't talk about Japanese people as monolith, because so in Japan it's very much we are Japanese, but to be honest, the identity may be Japanese, but the background is very different. You know, there's a lot of genetic mixing.
What is it, like Ainu and Ryukyu?
Yeah, but not even that. There's also like Chinese and Korean, and then also like one of my best friends, Ken, his grandfather is Russian. No, great-grandfather is Russian.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you have that kind of mixing in there too. And so people have all these differences that they aren't aware of.
Yeah.
But there's a type of Japanese people that just doesn't really sweat. Like I remember, I remember when I was in high school, this was 2007. It was the year the Nintendo Wii came out. I remember because I stayed in line for the Nintendo Wii while it was here.
Yeah.
This guy, his name was Takuro. He was a Japanese college student and stayed at our house for about 2 months or so, 2-3 months. It was great having him here. He was really, really quiet. And now I see him on Facebook and he's becoming a really amazing guy. But I just remember he never smelled bad, ever. Like never. Like I would go to his room and I would never smell sweat or like before he showered, like, you know, normally when you would smell bad, I didn't smell anything. And it was the weirdest thing, you know, he just didn't smell bad.
Interesting.
And I was like, what, is he an alien or something? Wait, so 1 second, it's in my backpack. Keep on talking about your experience. I'll be right back in a second.
So I want to talk about deodorant just because I think this is kind of an interesting discussion about history. Because you're familiar with Axe body spray. You can get Axe here in Japan actually too. So I was a 7th grader in junior high.
Yeah, they had the ads where like you spray Axe and then all the girls chase after you.
Yeah, so Axe body spray came out. So like America's like really into deodorant.
Yeah,
just because we got some stinky people.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. So in Europe, people don't use deodorant as much.
Yeah, it's like just America that does it, right?
Yeah.
Which is really weird because like Europeans are, because they don't use deodorant, are kind of known to be really stinky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's because they spent the vast majority of their existence without showers. Like just to tell you, so people talk about the Palace of Versailles in France and how everyone was so beautiful in such nice clothes and regalia. There were no toilets. People would poop under the staircases.
Oof.
Like that's where you went to poop. There was like a bucket there and you would poop there.
Wow.
And that's why perfume became so good, because everyone smelled like sweat and poop because they never showered or took baths.
Well, you learn something new every day.
Go, man. Sorry. So that's why people don't wear deodorant, I guess. But anyways, yeah.
So Axe body spray came out.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember being in 7th grade, and this is such a vivid memory because when you transition from elementary school to junior high, you start doing gym class by changing into your gym clothes in the locker room. You don't do that as an elementary kid.
Yeah, right.
Elementary kid, you just like, dude, kids wear jeans. All right, cool. You're wearing jeans for PE class. But once you hit junior high, it's like you have a gym uniform that you have to change into. I don't know why I keep using that word.
English teacher.
Yeah. You change into, right? It's just like school here in Japan. So the boys' locker room, we always have a locker room for boys and girls, right? And that year, Axe body spray came out, and it was like the thing to have.
Yeah.
And that room was like literal, like I swear it's like the only way I could describe it is like World War II gas warfare or World War I gas warfare,
but
where they were like using mustard gas.
Yeah.
But instead of mustard gas, it was like Axe body spray.
It's like a haze of Axe body spray.
Oh my God. It was horrendous to deal with.
Well, they also had a ton of different scents. Like, and when you're like 13 years old and you're in middle school, you start to really feel like, oh, I like girls. I want them to like me. Yeah. Oh, if I smell good, girls will like me.
Yeah.
So I actually had like three cans of Axe body spray that were different because I would wear them on different times, you know, because I just had to smell right at the right time, you know? Yeah. But it was funny, like the marketing, the brainwashing into that, you know,
dude. Oh my God. And you know, so it's like you would just, there would just be literal, like people would come out choking out of the locker room.
Okay, because also when you're a kid, you don't know how much to put on. You just put on too much.
And just like use the whole can in one go.
But then when you grew up a little bit, you graduated to this guy.
The Old Spice.
Old Spice.
This is old reliable. If you're an American man, you use Old Spice.
Old Spice so Axe is people's first deodorant spray.
Yeah.
Old Spice is the transition between a boy to like a young adult or a man. And this, I don't know why, but ever since probably I went to high school.
Let me just get a little sniff of that just for nostalgia. Oh man.
Yeah. I know. I have this in my backpack now because I can put it on before I leave the office, so Natsumi will not complain about me smelling so much.
Oh my God, that just hit me with so much nostalgia.
I know, right? It's that smell. It's because it's like the original Axe body spray was a little, original Old Spice was a little bit like cinnamony, or something. And this one isn't cinnamony, but it's definitely got that.
It reminds me
like,
of being
fresh.
20 years old.
Yeah.
That's what that reminds me of.
Yeah. But the thing is I cannot get this in Japan.
No.
Or I have to pay a fortune online to get it, you know?
Yeah. You can buy it on Amazon for like $30 a stick.
Seriously. So I'll go to the States and I'll stock up on I go to the States every year, so I'll stock up on like 1 or 2 of these. Yeah. Because that'll last me about a year, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so deodorant is like one thing. One thing that's funny about also the summer thing, I think we talked about this on a previous episode, but I remember, because I call this the summer season here sweat season, and it just, the humidity really gets at me. And I remember 2 summers ago, Natsumi and I went to the States with our kids and we were having lunch, and she just looks over to me and says, "Arthur, why is your hair so nice?" because my hair was not greasy and sweaty and patted down. It was like in its natural state because I was in the area I grew up in. Yeah. And she said, wow, this is where you belong, Arthur. This is where your body fits, you know, because I didn't have to deal with all the stuff I deal with in Japan, you know. But what are some other things that you can't get here that you have to get from the States?
You know, something that I think may come as a bit of a shock to people, but toothpaste.
Really?
Yeah. So here in Japan, like the regular toothpaste that you get, I believe doesn't have fluoride in it.
Yeah.
And that might be a divisive topic for some people, but
like with some people we know,
I'm really into fluoride in my toothpaste.
Yeah, you look like you're into fluoride in your toothpaste.
How dare you judge me?
Your pineal gland looks calcified.
But
please, guys, you have to look up the conspiracy theory of fluoride in the water in the United States.
Yeah. So to follow up on that, so the U.S. actually puts fluoride in its drinking water.
Yeah.
Not in any dangerous amount.
Mm-hmm. That's what they want you to believe, Austin.
That most people believe. I would say. And that just kind of like backs up the fact that Americans are really obsessed with teeth.
Yeah.
And fluoride prevents tooth decay.
Uh-huh.
That's the whole thing that's being used for.
Yeah.
And so for me, like a really big thing is I wanted fluoride in my toothpaste because why am I using toothpaste if not to prevent tooth decay?
That's really interesting because
So every time I go back to the US, I always get my big tubes of toothpaste.
All right. So what brand of toothpaste are you? Colgate guy? Yeah, I was gonna say Colgate. I used to be Aquafresh, but after moving to the States, and going into high school, I just started using Colgate all the time.
Yeah.
I guess with Aquafresh, I like the whole the no one saw that. I like the stripes of color in it, you know. But another thing for me that I can't get in the States that I always buy when I go back is shoes.
Yeah. How big are your shoes?
So
what size are you?
So I'm, depending on the shoes, I'm either like a 28, a 29, or a 30. Oh.
So you can still buy shoes in Japan.
There are two places. So I should say 29 or 30 because like 10 years ago, I looked for shoes for shoe stores that carried my size. I couldn't find any. I found one place and they were the tackiest, cheapest shoes. Like they're all sneakers basically.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I'm a size 30.
Okay.
And it is frustrating looking for shoes here. But I'll tell you what's even more frustrating is looking for clothes, like specifically pants and shirts.
Yeah.
Because it's weird because I can find stuff that fits like my waist size, right? Or I can find shirts that like will fit me on this.
Yeah.
But I have a really long torso.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I just got measured and depending on the day, I'm like 182 to 183 centimeters tall, right? So I'm like 6'6" to 6'1".
6'1", yeah.
Right? And clothes in this country just aren't built for a person at that height.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, the thing that sucks for me, right, is so I have a broad shoulders and a broad waist, and even in the United States, like I get clothes that either will fit my shoulders or they'll fit my waist, but very rarely will they fit both. Yeah. But in Japan, it's just impossible. So I shop at Uniqlo and The Gap. I go to The Gap because that's the easiest for me.
Recently just started shopping at this place. I think it's called Workman.
Okay.
And
I've heard of that place.
They sell clothes for like working men.
Yeah.
And it's really cheap and they're like rugged clothing.
Yeah.
And I still can't find my size most of the time, but I've gotten a couple things from there that fit.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because I go like the attrition rate on my clothing is really high.
Okay.
There's a lot of wear and tear just because of the size of them.
Yeah.
Like in specific areas.
Yeah, right.
Like you were talking, it's like, you know, certain parts of my body will be fine.
Yeah.
But like I'll tell you that I have a really high friction on my legs.
Yeah, right.
Just because I feel like the waists in a lot of pants aren't designed for people with long torsos.
Yeah.
So what will happen is like my pants will be in such a way that they end up like rubbing against each other or you know, whatever. They're not fitting on my giant Goliath body.
So you're a pretty big dude, man.
So it's I have to buy a lot of clothes all the time. It's really annoying.
Yeah. No, I get that. So clothes, but in particular shoes.
Yeah.
So deodorant, toothpaste, like you said. Is there something else that you have a hard time finding in Japan that you want to buy in the States?
I would say I'm trying to think of stuff that I buy on Amazon a lot. If you got an idea, let me
Actually, I didn't go into this with too much detail, but one of the things that I really miss is seafood, because
that's a weird statement. Okay,
I know, cool, because you don't like seafood, you don't understand, but like in Japan, you know, so the seafood is either you have like shioyaki, you have like fillet stuff, like even tara. So tara in English you call it cod, and cod is a very common fish where I'm from. So if you get fish and chips, most of the time it's cod in there, or haddock, which is basically a type of cod, pretty much. And I'm saying like cod. Yeah, we're getting cod. Yeah,
some cod.
So that's New York. That's New York. But cod.
I want to talk about New York accents after you.
Yeah, we could do that a little bit. But so like even I get like tara and cod is the same thing.
Yeah,
but it just tastes different. You know, the way that they prepare in the States. Yeah. So food thing. What's your thing about New York accents?
This is completely unrelated to our topics, but so my daughter's really into Sesame Street right now, and I had never known this until I rewatched Sesame Street with her. All the characters in Sesame Street talk with New York accents.
Really?
Yes. You never noticed either?
Like why is a quark on the fork or something?
You know, it's like you'll sit here and Elmo will come up and you're like, okay, everyone, we're gonna sing a song now.
Oh, really?
We're gonna sing a song now. We're gonna sing a song. This is like, what is going on? Have these characters always talked in New York accents?
Well, in all fairness, they do live in the city, and one of them lives in a trash can, so that's very New York.
No, the city, it's very clear that they live in New York.
Yeah.
Like, it's very, very, very obvious that, like, Sesame Street's supposed to take place in New York. Yeah. But I just never made that connection until watching it now, and it's like, what is going on?
I need to rewatch Sesame Street now, because I never made that connection. I was never really much of a Sesame Street guy.
I like it. I've always really liked Cookie Monster. I like Elmo. And then my favorite's the Count.
The Count?
Yeah, I love the Count, man.
The Count.
That guy's
my favorite was Grumpy in the trash can.
Oscar.
Sorry.
Not Grumpy. What are you? Get out of here. I'm Oscar the Grouch.
Oscar the Grouch. Yes, it's Oscar the Grouch, man. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm not a true Sesame Street fan. You can
But going into children's stuff, one thing that I mean, you can kind of get it through YouTube, but I'm not overly fond of like children's media here in Japan.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is, like, I feel like the TV shows in the media that you get, in the US in like the form of like Sesame Street, or I learned this from you when you were raising Lewis, and Luna watches it now too, is like Blippi, yeah. You don't get that kind of same content here from like baby channels here in the US.
Yeah. You know, it's funny.
Here in Japan, I mean.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that, because one thing that I remember watching from YouTube, and so Lewis watches YouTube Kids a lot. Yeah. And he has a mix of America and English, American Japanese channels. Yeah. And of course, on YouTube, even in English, you have your fair share of crap stuff that's kind of weird.
Sure.
I'm not trying to sound racist or anything, but there's so much Chinese-made animation that's so sketchy.
And like sketchy in what way?
Like it's clearly Chinese made because there are some signs in Chinese, but it's in English, and they're animations about zombies, and they're kind of gruesome a little bit. Lewis likes Halloween kind of dark stuff, and so he really likes zombies. Yeah. Just watching it, it's like, this is kind of scary. This is kind of dark, and And it's really weird, a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
But then the American stuff that we see is a lot more intentional on childhood growth. So like one of them is Blippi, where Blippi pretends to be your friend and he introduces you to lots of topics.
Sesame's also. Yeah.
And then another one too is not very, very popular, but it's called Meta, which is like this stuffed bear.
Okay.
That does a lot of activities like cooking and making things.
Yeah.
But one thing that really struck me too is this is going back a bit, but did you ever watch Mr. Rogers?
I mean, as a kid, no, but I'm very aware of him.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the stuff in America hits more on the emotional side of kids trying to help them manage their emotions.
You know, it's funny you talk about that, because I was actually just giving a lesson to my students yesterday.
Like what age group?
High schoolers.
High schoolers.
And I was telling them that one of the really big things when you're a kid and you're learning English is how to share your emotions.
Yeah.
And I talked about how like English is, and it's not like Japanese isn't an emotional language, but English is a very emotional language in the sense that we are constantly telling people how we feel.
Yeah.
Like literally how we feel, not showing it. We are saying, I feel this way.
Yeah.
This makes me feel this, you know?
Very direct.
Yeah. And a lot of, like you were saying, a lot of children's television shows are aimed at teaching kids how to share how they feel.
Yeah.
With their parents or with other people. Like, no, this isn't okay. I don't want this. Or I really like this. I want to do it more. Like that kind of thing. Dude, I've spilled so many times on this show. What's happening today?
Okay, I'll get you tissue. Keep on waxing about.
I'm not even
feelings.
drunk. Like we haven't even really drank this much. I'm just clumsy today.
Keep on talking about your feelings, man. I'll be right back with a tissue.
Don't comment about this. Yeah, so stuff that you can't really get here. I'm gonna comment on this, and I'm probably gonna get in trouble for saying it, but man, fried chicken here in Japan just doesn't hit like it does.
Yeah, karaage is different from fried chicken.
It just doesn't hit like it does back home.
Well, it's different, you know?
It's very different.
And to be fair, so for fast food restaurants, I think the majority of fast food chains in Japan are better than in the States. KFC is the one chain I think is better in the States than...
Yeah. I agree, and it's actually kind of funny you mentioned that, because I was talking with my wife about what she wants to do for Mother's Day, because that's this weekend.
Yeah.
And she's like, you know what I really want to do? I really want to go to KFC for Mother's Day. And I'm just like, what? So apparently KFC has a tabe hodai.
Oh, really?
For Mother's Day.
Okay.
So for those English speakers that are watching this, it's all you can eat.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do that for Mother's Day.
Wow.
So that's a thing.
Wow. Wow.
I can tell you're really excited about that idea.
You know, honestly, it's just funny because like in Japan, people are so much more restrained in their eating and their drinking. So you can do tabe hodai, whereas in the States, if you did tabe hodai in KFC.
Oh my God, man.
In America, yeah.
Can you even imagine?
Yeah. Well, so one thing to imagine though is like, so back in the 60s, did you know that KFC had more locations than McDonald's? It was the most popular fast food restaurant in the world.
That really surprises me.
Yeah. And so their peak was in like the late 70s. And so in the States, they're kind of falling down. They're actually going a lot more overseas than they are in America.
Yeah.
So in America, people don't really care about KFC.
No.
No.
Especially because there's a lot of really good competitors like Popeyes and stuff.
Popeyes is really good too. Dude, this is turning into like food.
I know. It always does.
Yeah, I mean, because I mean, you and I, we both have work that we enjoy or that's meaningful. Yeah. We have a good family. We have kids. We don't really feel like we need to buy stuff so much, but food is just a part of everyday life. You know,
it is. All right, so let's try to reel it in and back on the topic of like stuff that you can get here, and I want to talk about shopping in general here.
Yeah.
And I would say that if you eliminated online shopping, like basically Amazon or to another extent Costco, what do you think you would lose out on in your daily life
here?
Yeah, like what do you think you couldn't get if you didn't have access to that?
So the town that I live in has like 6 malls.
Okay,
so we have everything.
Sure,
we have like a home improvement store.
A lot of the stores here will have very different stuff than what you would want to buy if you're as an American.
And then okay, so you share what you're thinking. I'm going to try to see if I can catch that.
Okay, so one of the things that instantly jumps out at me is like I mean, we're going back into food with this, but like a lot of the comfort foods that I get, like or seasonal foods. So like one thing that really I think of is like eggnog.
Eggnog, yeah.
You can't get eggnog here.
No,
you'll never see eggnog.
Yeah,
unless
eggnog
it's like
is so niche, you know.
But like a lot of these like seasonal things. Another thing that you often won't get, which probably doesn't really affect that many people, but stuff that measures in inches.
Well, yeah, because because inches is American, you know.
It is American, but like for me, I can't think of things in centimeters. My brain, like I've tried in my brain, like I have a measuring tape that measures in centimeters, and it's like I understand centimeters.
Yeah, it just doesn't, it's not
but
part
my
of like
brain,
your sense.
like I can tell you exactly what 6 inches looks like. Right?
Yeah.
I can't tell you what is it, 30 centimeters, I think is 6 inches.
It's close to like 20. 20. It's around 20.
But I can't tell you what the amount of centimeters
the way that it works for me is that it's basically 3 centimeters per inch. So if I want to figure out, like, so when people tells me, oh, it's 30 centimeters, I convert that, I divide it by 3, and then I have it in inches and I understand it. And then if I'm like, oh, this is about a foot. Okay, so 12 times 3, okay, 36 centimeters. Like, that's how I do it. I have to convert in my mind. Yeah. Because I still can't.
My brain does not work like that. Like, you know, it's like I tell people I'm 182 or 183 centimeters tall. Yeah. I cannot envision that.
I know. It's so much easier to say I'm 6'1". Yeah. Yeah, like I'm 5'10", 5'11", you know?
You know, but the weird thing is like kilograms is really easy for me.
Yeah. No, I get that. Because, so kilos are like 2 pounds, you know? It's more, like the pound is just a weird unit. So, okay, so I thought of some. So one thing that I don't necessarily buy this in Japan because it's super expensive, but the thing that I love buying in the States that I can't get here is Christmas trees. When you're talking about the holidays, eggnog. Yeah. Like just having a living tree. Well, it's not living anymore because you cut it down, but having a tree, a real tree in your house, you know? And so it's to the point where, you know, I feel really awkward spending Christmas in Japan because we cannot get a Christmas tree that doesn't cost nanama yen or whatever, you know?
It's really expensive. Yeah. It's pretty insane.
Yeah.
For me, I think something that I have a hard time really finding access to is getting cheap movie tickets.
Yeah.
Like, and what I mean by this is like movie theaters are such it's really difficult for me to explain like how ingrained movie culture is in the US.
Well,
like,
it kind of started in America pretty much. Yeah. You
know, movies are so ingrained in the US that like it's so easy to find ways to watch movies. Like obviously we have movie theaters, which most Americans will go to the movies at least once a week. If not once a week.
Well, nowadays they're getting more expensive, so I would say like once every 2 months or something.
But like pretty often Americans will go.
Yeah, when I was a kid, we'd go once a month.
Yeah, I mean, I went all the time. Yeah. I think in my teenage years, I probably went once a week.
Oh yeah, I mean, so when you're a teenager, you go with your friends, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember I saw Inception 4 times in theaters.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time I've been in a movie theater here in Japan.
Yeah.
I think it was Star Wars.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I think it was Rogue One.
It was funny. I saw Star Wars at a movie theater in America with my friends because I was in America and they're huge Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, it's just I haven't been to a movie theater. Last time I was in a movie theater here was in 2018, I think.
Yeah, and I mean that's not far away. I think what Rogue One came out in like 2020. I want to say maybe 2021.
Yeah, I guess like so instead, not necessarily things that you can buy, but what about like experiences? Like you talked about movies and stuff.
Okay, so experiences that I don't think that you can really get here in Japan that you could in the US is like going camping next to a lake.
Going camping next to a lake.
You know, and I know that sounds crazy. It's like, well, okay, you can go camping and there's lakes here in Japan that you can go visit, but it's like, it's really not the same. Did you ever go camping as a kid?
Yeah, as a kid, yeah.
So there's a really famous lake called Lake Chelan in Washington.
Okay, yeah, it sounds like a lake in Washington.
Yeah, so it's in eastern Washington.
Yeah.
It's a really big lake, and I think it's actually famous. I don't know if it still holds this title, but it used to hold this title as one of the cleanest lakes in the US. It had really, really clean water, and it was a really deep lake. And anyways, so we would go every summer, and we would go on boating like camping trips. So like you would hitch up the boat and go camping, and then every day you're spending time doing like inner tubing or wakeboarding or whatever boat culture. And I think that's a really unique American thing.
Well, summer camp in general is a unique thing, I think. We've talked about that before.
Yeah, we have, but like specifically like boating culture, I think it's really common for Americans to own boats, and it's really common for a weekend activity with a family to just go out on the boat.
Yeah, if you live near a body of water, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one thing that just kind of hit me is at your house growing up, did you guys have a front porch?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. Because in my mind,
I know where you're going with this.
Like people would hang out in front of their house on the porch or in the garden, and you just don't see that here. Like I remember, so when we moved to Kawasaki, we moved to this residential area, and we were renting a Ikenya, just a standalone house, but we had parking space for 2 cars, and there was quite a nice little space in front of us. And I was telling Nutsme that I wanted to put up some hedges or some bushes or something, and just put out like a table and like a chair where I could just sit outside and just hang out in front of my house and relax.
Yeah.
She looked at me like I was an alien because you just don't do that here. She's like, what?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
It's so true. Like you never see, I mean, okay, I'm not going to say you never see people hanging out in front of their house, because it's not true. But if they're going out in front of their house, it's because they're doing yard work.
Yeah.
Like you never see somebody who just like takes a towel and goes and just like lays in the grass in front of their house.
Yeah.
You will never see that here.
Yeah. My dad would go out on the backyard deck, and he would just sit out and enjoy the sun and maybe have a drink, In the morning now, at sunrise, he makes a coffee and he goes outside in front of his house and has a chair and a table, and he drinks his coffee outside.
It's really common. My mom does the same thing, not with the front yard, but the backyard.
Yeah.
They have like a little swing and patio area. But yeah, no, you never see that here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, I think so. The main reason why I wanted to talk about this topic is because we're going into sweat season, and Natsumi called me smelly. And I was like, oh, I need to buy deodorant. I'm so glad I bought deodorant in the States. But one thing, though, I'll tell you that actually I buy in Japan and bring it back to America is dental floss. Because there's actually, and it's not just any dental floss. There's this one brand of dental floss that you can get on Amazon. Yeah. It's a black box with like a pink lid on it. And it says it's made in Italy, but it is the best dental floss I've ever used. And Natsumi's dad introduced it to us, and we started using it. We brought it, gave it to my parents, and they said, please buy this for us and bring it when you come and visit. We want 2. We want 3. But they'll last it for the time we're gone because it's such good dental floss.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that strange?
I don't even know how to understand this. So, like, what's so good about it?
It's really strong. It doesn't shred.
Okay.
So like I never got braces, and there are parts of my teeth that are crowding a little bit. So
yeah,
I used to hate flossing my teeth because it would get caught on my teeth and would kind of shred a little bit.
Yeah.
This one doesn't do that. Like it'll take whatever you throw at it, and it's great. And it's kind of in a biggish box, but it has a lot, and it's not super expensive. But it's totally worth it. I don't want to promote it here, so I'm not going to give you the link. But if you just look at it and it's black and pink, probably it.
The black pink
floss.
The black pink floss.
Here's man. I think this is a good place to end this today.
Yeah, we're pretty much done with our bottle. Jeez. So
seriously, man. I promise you, we're not drunks. We just drink a lot for this channel for you guys.
It really cracks me up because we'll get comments, or every once in a while I'll run into somebody who watches the show, and they'll come up to me with like kind of a little bit of concern in their voice, like, Austin, like, I love watching your show, but you guys drink a lot, and it's just like, dude, we film these once a week.
Yeah, makes it more fun for us too. So actually,
I'm these once a week.
So I want to ask you guys. So we film once a week, and I want to ask you guys, what time of day do you think we film these videos?
Yeah.
So do you think we film in the mornings, the afternoons, the evenings? Give us a specific time and put it in the comment box, because I'm really curious to hear, because I think you guys may be wrong.
To be fair, though, usually like around once a month, we do film at a very different time.
Yeah.
Because we're setting up for our live show, which is like late in the evening.
Yeah. Dude, you don't spoil it, man.
I just said we're just preparing for our live show.
You just narrowed down the options.
All right, guys. Well, I have to confess, we do film every week. Starting at around 4:30 a.m. in the morning.
Come on, man.
I wake up and I specifically
He takes the first train.
I want to take the first train to Kawasaki to film with you.
Oh, thanks, man.
Because I want to see your face in the morning, man.
You want my face to be the first thing you see when you wake up?
No, I don't. Much. I don't want it to be the first. Not the first face. I very much not want it to be the first face, but one of the first faces. That's okay.
One of the first faces. All right, this is a good place to finish this. All right, I'll see you next time.
I didn't spill that time.
Bye.